what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, 10th Man, Flatsoid, Righteous Force and Arwin in G+, along with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're good. Morning from Discord.
Hello, hello. So over last week we covered 6 of the housekeeping questions, and we're going to round out the last couple or last 3 during these next 2 or 3 shows in this week's sort of lineup. So we're going to start off with the molten iron core. So I'll ask the question to mainly the Discord panel, if anybody wants to answer before we discuss it, why it's discussed, etc., etc. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Anyone got that tumbleweed sound effect?
Crickets.
It's pure crickets.
Well, that's how much actual evidence there is.
That's what I'm waiting for. Anything at all. This is typically the response we get to this question. Total silence, because beyond the cartoons and the assertions of, what is it, P waves and S waves, which have proven to be very unreliable in terms of their consistency in proving what they say they prove, you only have the rhetoric and the cartoons and the story of Thea smashing into Earth, depositing its giant molten iron core, which would be beyond the Curie point anyway. Hence we ask for it to be a self-perpetuating molten iron core. So there is no evidence for it. Whoever's left sounds off mic, mute, whistling their mic. Someone in Discord.
Apologies.
How about any kind of molten core? How about a core?
Right, precisely. We've got to get the disclaimers into the question, though, because they'll weasel their way around it if you're not very specific about the self-perpetuation, the fact that it's molten, the fact that it's at the centre, the fact that it's in the centre of a presupposed Earth, the self-perpetuation, all those things you've got to disclaim.
First need a sphere to have an iron core.
You need a sphere in order to have a center.
The deepest hole ever dug is in Russia, about 8 miles. So how would they prove this?
They wouldn't. I like the fact that
they deduce it based on models, based on a bunch of echoes down there.
I just like the way the story for how we have come to possess a oversized molten iron core has derived from a necessity, not through any empirical evidence whatsoever, but purely out of necessity. So based on the timeline they give to the heliocentric system, we wouldn't have a molten iron core, we wouldn't be creating self-perpetuating magnetic fields because it would be cold. So they end up coming up with this entire story of Theia smashing into Earth at a glancing blow, depositing its molten iron core, all of the debris coalescing into the moon. That's just a story. They've just completely made that up. It's pulled it out of their ass. Why? Well, because we need a bigger core. We need a bigger core. That's why. That's a good one to ask.
Dead subject.
Sorry, go on, Flat.
Well, who was around here to watch that Theia or however you pronounce it, hit anything?
What, 100 million, 100 billion, whatever years ago? Nobody. It's true because they made it up themselves.
Why did they originally even felt the need to do it? Was it just to be able to explain volcanoes in some kind of way?
I keep telling you, the molten iron core's got nothing to do with volcanoes.
Like the revolution in electricity, for example, and magnetics, because that probably changed a lot about what was realized that could be possible. Was it invented before that time? What do you think?
I just want to nip that in the bud. I've said this to you before, I know I have. The molten iron core's got nothing to do with volcanoes, even in their rhetoric.
P waves and S waves?
But where do you think it's in what age was the molten
S-wave.
iron core concept conceptualized, do you think?
Don't they
Page
need it for
37 of
gravity?
you. Page 37. It's not like it's...
Age, not page.
I know, I heard you.
See, they need a very, very dense mass to be able to attract the gravity, so.
I'm just going to do a couple of quick shout-outs. So, big shout-out to latest member, Effie Diplomat, who joined as a lion. So, big shout-out to you. Woohoo! And also, Plane2C. Big shout-out to you for joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. And then, over the last couple of days, MacGyver, Institute of Ninja Technology, who also joined as a penguin. So, big shout-out to you as well. Thank you very much for joining. And... last but by no means least, big shout out to Alexander for hitting the super chat. It says, coronavirus is the proof. It came from Earth's core. There was no laughter. Winky face. Thank you very much for the super chat, Alexander. Really appreciate your support. And thank you to all the new members. Right, that's it. I don't think there's anything else to say on the molten iron core. Someone mentioned P waves and S waves, which have proven unreliable in terms of their predictions versus what actually occurs. So typically it's Anthony or Sleeping Warrior that would give this example in terms of them claiming that they found certain types of solid material only to discover that it's actually water, for example. There are many. Nevertheless, they're simply not reliable, whoever said P waves and S waves.
But is there
Yeah, that
even
was me.
any kind
how
of preliminary
deep do
sign
they
that there
say
is
the
such
P
levels of
waves go
heat?
down
Which
to?
any metal on Earth can take.
Hold on, Arwin. Say again, Earth-shaped investigator.
Yeah, just for the sake of completeness, how deep do they say the P waves and S waves can sort of detect? Is it 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 1,000? What do they say about that? Just for the sake of completeness, maybe we should.
I don't know.
We should just check that.
I don't know
It
accurately.
depends on the hardness of the rock it's going through. The harder it is, the quicker it will just be absorbed.
The diagrams I've seen show the entirety of a spherical Earth. So, that's what they give us as a result of the bullshit they claim. In terms of how good are those actual measurements and what are they claiming of the depths they can traverse to, who cares? They're getting it wrong when they actually dig. So they say, oh, we were expecting to see this when we dig, and they don't. So that's the end for me. I haven't researched it. Once I heard that from Sleeping Warrior, I'm like, well, that's the end of that argument then.
So it would be right from the circumference from one side to the other.
There's a lot of assumptions within the diagram, but the bullshit diagram is based on something that's unreliable. So I don't give any credence to... I wouldn't have given much credence to the diagram anyway, based on its assumption of R and all the other things that it assumes, but... what I'm being asked in terms of what's the actual accurate depth that these machines can go to when they're firing P waves and S waves and getting return signals, I don't know the actual accurate answer. So I don't know. Sleeping Warrior may if he joins the panel.
I could add something, Nathan, because I think that what they got wrong is when they basically do the same thing they do with the celestial bodies, and that is, what's the name again? Analyzing the light and then determining what material it is.
Spectroscopy.
Spectroscopy.
Right. So that is obviously a
Spectroscopy.
presuppositional system. It could be that they're trying to apply resonance in order to figure out what kind of material it would be without knowing all the conditions of what is down there. And then you're going to get it very wrong. But it doesn't mean that there isn't certain reliable things how it works. Like, for example, the harder the material, the more of the sound wave that's being used to scan it will be absorbed, so it won't travel as far. So there is definitely some reliable information, but as to what it actually is, the material there, that's much tougher. That's much tougher to establish.
So Owen, are you saying Jupiter is not gas?
It is. I don't know
It's
what
not
it is.
gas
I'm
in a
pretty sure
vacuum?
it's just light.
Yeah. I would say though that in regards to, this is the typical pattern. So if they're saying that they can detect 10, 100 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers using these waves, they have not evidenced that, because you have to actually be able to dig that distance and show it is what you think it is. You can't just say that at 100 meters, at 1 kilometer, okay, you can verify this is what it is, say, at that depth, right? But when they extrapolate it, just like they do with the celestial bodies, then it can be anything they want. They can say it's billion years, they can say it's 1,000 kilometers, they can say it's a billion light years. This is the typical pattern that they use, where it makes it unverifiable because of this insane extrapolation, and they cannot replicate it. Whereas in biology, you can actually, test something, for example, experimentally, and say, okay, this yellow thing is this cell. And you can verify that that's how you're measuring yellow thing equals this cell.
That is you're actually right. You're right. They have to kind of determine what the readout will be distance-wise, because a harder material will actually cause an apparent distance to increase for the wave. It'll take longer if it returns and all that. So they eventually have to get the readout and then kind of almost like sharpen the lens to unblur it and try to figure out what the actual depth is they're looking at, as it were. That's right. And it's not very easy to get it accurate. Yeah,
They don't
actually,
need-
you have to
Otherwise,
physically
you
go
see,
there
their
to
whole
confirm
system
any of
is-
it.
They don't need to
Yeah, their whole
verify anything,
system is-
because whatever they come up with, it's always matching their model.
Can I just say something? Black swan. It's dead.
Right, speaking of the black swan, you're around, QE.
Yeah, give me a minute or two.
No worries.
Bon appetit.
Well, let's give a shout out to
Isn't that
John Thor
Molten
for
before?
airing the Black Swan.
Oh, remember that video Chocolate shared with us? Maybe that would be a fun intro.
What was the video?
Of the black swans.
Oh, the black swans attacking people.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. Black swans chasing after people.
Amazing.
So doesn't a molten iron core beg the heck out of the question of R?
Yeah, that's why I include at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth in the question.
Wonderful. I didn't hear anybody talk about the Keurig point either.
I did mention it.
I'm finding.
You
Speaking
mentioned
of
it already.
swan attacks, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think anyone was
No,
talking.
you go ahead. I just asked if it was mentioned already.
Have you guys ever been attacked by a swan?
No.
Yes.
Personally?
Yeah, but it didn't get me.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do back in the day. I used to do a lot of fishing, right? And I'd go out on my own, to isolated places, and these geese would be around, man, and they wouldn't play any games. If you got close, right, they had a bad attitude. And I can remember on numerous occasions, man, them coming up with they were ready to do business. And I said, I remember getting down, come on, because I had my fishing pole, right? So when they get close, I just twap them with it, right? Because they meant business, man. That's cool. Thanks for bringing that up.
Geese are very territorial. That's true. They can effectively be trained as guard dogs, as it were. Did you know that some cultures do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, they're pretty strong too, from what I understand.
Very strong.
Guard
they got attitude problem, man. Like other people we know.
Right, shout out to Emma UK, who sends a picture of an umbrella. Thank you very much for the super chat. Check out Emma UK's channel. She does similar shows to this. She's got a Discord server, so subscribe today. Click on the little three dots next to her name. Go to channel, go subscribe. Thank you for the super chat, Emma.
So, we ready?
Yeah, ready when you are.
As I said many, many moons ago, the biggest enemy to the flat earth are half-wit flat earthers. I wrote this early yesterday morning to the team, and I quote, "Since the ballers are vanquished with an exclamation point, see the black swan, I think it's time to shift my focus to what I first announced on Adam's show some time ago. Ironically, IRM, Ironic Realm Media. Exposing pretender clown flat earthers. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And I most assuredly have what they call in the industry a target-rich environment. I officially declare war on the goobers Karen B, Iru Landucci, and this Rodrigo, right? I don't know who he is. I should identify him a little bit more clearly since I'm going to declare war. So hold off on that last one. If you're associated in any way with these numpties, I suggest to pop smoke and get out of Dodge to avoid any collateral damage. My deepest apologies to everyone out there, flat earthers and future flat earthers, for allowing their nonsense to go essentially unchallenged. That stops right frigging now. I will not tolerate your glue sniffing, window licking, crayon munching, boneheaded presence in this community, spewing your science illiteracy, which you clowns collectively got from a single crackerjack box, and the basic reasoning and critical thinking skills of a root vegetable. Are we tracking Sally?
Okay, well, Karen B is a really good friend of mine.
I'm not done yet. Listen, folks, there's many, many geometric horizon black swans. Just because I called it the black swan, aka more or less the poster child, doesn't mean there aren't thousands of other black swans. There are. Why? Well, the earth is flat. Duh. That fact doesn't make the black swan not a black swan, bozo goobers. It's over. I'm sick of this. Right? There's another one that I'll personally take care of. End of message. Oh, P.S. I don't frequent the watering holes of these bozos. I don't watch their show, haven't watched it in years. So, if you guys out there would do me a favor, and if you find watering holes where these people go to, I doubt that they even go anywhere. They probably stay behind their friggin' walls. But if you find them out there, could you please pass a message to me on Discord? I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Karen B hangs around everywhere, especially my chat, so I'll definitely pass on the message. Good luck with that, because they're more active everywhere than you are. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, you know. Yeah, they may be a little speculative. They may be just blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really make them actively attacking us or anything. I don't know why really this is really necessary. These people of all, like, they're not really negative people. You know, I could give worse examples of people that do the same thing that might need a treatment here and there of your style. Aaron B. Eru? Really?
Yeah, really.
Why? What did they do? Did they not agree or what?
They know what they did. I'm not answering to you.
Oh, but I don't know. We don't necessarily know here. So,
Find out.
Oh, I guess, yeah, it's the same game over again. Okay.
Same game over again. Okay.
Okay. I'll pass on the message for you.
Well, it's not, how can I put this? It's very easy just to reassert what the black swan argument is, and people aren't doing it properly. I think that's the case. At least that's what I'm saying.
I just got a feeling that people don't understand the black swan argument. That's the problem.
Well, how could they not understand it? It's written down. It's on several videos. Got a modus tonens. It's very short.
Ever heard of broken telephone?
I mean, I've got 2 screenshots with everything on 2 screenshots. All I have to do is read it. Can't screw it up.
Yeah, I'll say it's easy. It's exactly what every flat earther was looking for. Period.
Yeah. And it's all done. All the homework is done. It's written down. You can take 2 screenshots and have the modus tollens as well as the first argument for the black swan in reference to the Earth's radius. That's not difficult. But everybody wants to add their version to it without any history of study or proof. So they muddy the waters.
So, can I play this clip to give what QE said context?
Close and one that's further back, and then the one that's further back, as far back as it is, you shouldn't really be able to see it at the height, at the camera height and the distance and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. But the thing that everybody's really going on about is how you can still see the horizon line beyond that back platform. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's what this is the black swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, because that's like what I was wondering. I was like, why is there everybody going on about this photo? I mean, haven't we seen pictures like this dozens and dozens and dozens of times? Like, wow.
There you go. That's as much context as I can give it.
Oh, that's funny. We've seen this picture dozens and dozens of times, but we now can properly define what it is. How come they didn't do it when they saw it before?
I don't really get it. You know, it seems like cast iron flat earth proof, and it's being criticised because there's been examples before. Well, I haven't seen anybody formulate a modus tollens argument. This is the first time I've seen it. Yes, there could be other examples, but why would you want to dilute what is basically an absolutely stone-cold, undebunkable flat earth proof for reasons that there are other examples as well? I just don't get that. It's like, yeah, there are. But why not put positive spin on it? This absolutely debunks the globe. There can be no geometric globe based on this image. And there's others. This isn't a single case example. There's plenty of examples of black swans. That I'm all for. Because there are. Yeah, we live on a flat plane. Of course there's going to be other examples. But to take an example, that's nicely laid out in terms of having two specifically distanced objects within the frame of the photo and a horizon that's beyond them. It's a nice clear-cut example to make the point with the modus tollens argument, something that's never been done before. Can you do it again? Yes, you could formulate that modus tollens into other arguments that have the horizon geometrically in an impossible position for a sphere. Yes, of course you could. I don't see why that needs to be criticised. It just doesn't seem right. It's like, why not just say, great, this debunks the globe, and there's more! You could do it too. Well, I don't get why the negative spin.
Because they didn't think about it first?
I don't know,
Does
man.
that matter?
Is it just too simple?
Does that matter?
Not to people like me who just want to show the lie of the globe. It doesn't matter who came up with it first. I'll just, whatever proof there is, I'm going to give credit to whoever gave it. But I wouldn't water it down the way they're doing it. It's ridiculous.
I mean, Paul on the Plane did a really good job because he mirrored, I think the one he picked was, it might have been Quantum Eraser, I can't remember which one he picked, but he picked one of the very concise, sort of under 5-minute videos. And in his description, he's like, here's the original YouTuber, and here's who mirrored it in like a list of people who mirrored it by Ben, who mirrored it by QE, who mirrored it by Nathan, who mirrored it by Mark Sargent, who mirrored it by me. And it was humorous. It's like, yeah, this is spreading like wildfire. And you're just showing the timeline of how many people have picked up on it and gone, wow, this is ace, I'm having that. And not gone, well, therefore I'm going to... I don't know. I'm assuming that is the correct motivation, 10th Man. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I can't divine their thoughts. But running along that path, that doesn't seem to make sense to me either, if I'm honest. Does it matter who came up with it originally? And it's not them.
It doesn't.
So it's not... I just don't get it.
Excuse me. Mitchell from Australia, what did he do? He put his video and did a beautiful job on it and used different things as well as whatever was there before that. And we gave kudos to him because he did a perfect representation of it.
Yeah, I thought we were all on the same side.
No, it's ego to me. I think it's just ego.
That's why I said maybe they just don't understand the point.
No, they understand the point. How do you miss it? The horizon cannot be where it's at if we're on the sphere. Based on the radius of 3959.
She definitely hasn't missed the point. She summarised the point at the beginning.
Like I said, I've got 2 screenshots. All I have to do is read them. I don't have to add to them or try to make them better.
Still here, QE. This is your point. You've been very quiet.
Still here. I ain't got anything else to say. Flat Earthers, you better up your game. If you're out here, 1 second, I'll be right back.
It's beyond me why I'm defending something that's having negative spin put on it for any reason from our own side. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know why anybody could view this in any kind of negative way. I mean, I've got to be honest, my critique would also apply to Ben. But there we go. Anybody else got an opinion on why we're having negative spin put on a cast iron globe debunking?
Negative spin? What?
What? You know? Do you not know what negative spin is?
A counter spin, you mean?
No, negative spin, like spin doctoring in the paper, when you've got either
right.
twisting a story to make it worse for your opponent, or twisting a story to make it seem better for your ally. Well, at the moment, we're having this black swan, for whatever reason, twisted like, no, you can't call this a black swan. It's like, hold on. This is a cast iron globe debunking. Why critique it in that way at all? I don't get it. What does that serve? What purpose does that serve?
Well, probably because they've decided to replace the entire functionality of refraction with their own machination. So they will then deny it because it is a black swan from an actual knowledge of optics. Then it is a black swan.
Travis, can you
But
pop
they
yourself on
just
mute?
don't want to
Hold on,
recognize
Arwin.
that.
Hold on,
Arwin, we're
Hold
talking
on,
about
both
flat
of you.
earthers,
Hello,
not the
hello,
globers.
hello. Travis, can you pop yourself on mute? Your mic's whistling.
Oh,
sorry, Arwin.
Why flat earthers would say it's nonsensical? I don't know.
They're saying it's nonsensical. They're just putting negative spin on it.
I can't tell. Maybe people are just kind of a little bit sick of John's behavior. Maybe that's the reason, not everybody lets proper suitable motivation drive their action sometimes, especially in winter months like these. So everybody's been like exploding. I've been exploding. So
yeah, that's you personally, Arwin. You personally feel that way. You've just taken this as an opportunity to express that. That wasn't a detail that we were critiquing in any way. Our criticism is of our own side being, albeit not necessarily misunderstanding the argument, but being negative about how the argument's been put together, and in effect taking the argument apart, weakening the argument for no good reason. No, these aren't black swans. These are actually white swans. Oh, well done. That's one way to completely confuse the audience with what currently stands as a logical consistency, absolutely cast iron, cannot be debunked. Let's just rearrange that logical consistency so it makes no sense to our advantage and call black swans white swans. Why would you do that, other than to dilute what is an absolutely cast iron proof for no good reason? Why would you suddenly say that, no, the example that's claimed is white swans because that's what we see all the time? No, the current narrative that 90% of the Western world is under is that we live on a sphere, that those horizons are geometric, and that all of them are geometric because they must be, always. So they're white swans in the modus tollens that was formulated by QE. So what, you don't like that because it's not the case that we don't, as a entire nation, automatically see all of them as being white swans? Because that would imply that the narrative was that we live on a flat earth and that we don't have a geometric horizon, because a general understanding is that all swans are white, in that paraphrasing of our solid argument. It just completely dilutes it and confuses people when we're trying to highlight that this argument probably won't be understood by most of the other side for at least another 9 months. So I know I'll just confuse it a bit further for the people on our side who may not get it.
I understand
Arwin,
your issue.
I had to close your line because you constantly talk through every word that I just said. Was it you just talking? Is that why I had to close the line? Because you were just interrupting me the whole time I was just talking. Was it you talking? Can I have an opinion from the other hangout? Was Arwin just constantly talking through me through that entire...
What? No.
Well, I was watching the hangout line constantly dancing up and down.
What?
I just heard him at the very
possible.
end when you stopped talking.
Yeah, I've stopped talking now, Arwin.
So, okay, sorry, I just was a bit flustered about that. But yeah, I get your point. It is weird. I see now that it's probably not an accident. It seemed like a concise effort. I don't know why they would do it. I don't know.
All you gotta know, been alive for any amount of time, is human nature and the behavior of people. And you could pretty much get close to why they're doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you first see let's take another example. Let's say somebody from another channel puts up a NASA video where it clearly shows an astronaut pulling on a harness as one of the other astronauts is pretending to be in zero gravity. Okay, so they make it come out of their channel. We see it and we start sharing it. It is what it is. The commentary, we don't even add to it because the guy doing it already pretty much succinctly put the commentary to it. And we just mirror that video and say, good, another win for us. Let more people's eyes be open. All of a sudden, you got this black swan. Modus tollens, the whole thing. Beautifully done. Even a collector's edition. Mitchell from Australia got it. Right? John Thor got it. Other flat earthers, they can't just share it. They have to add and subtract from the argument to make it more confusing.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. Could be
Well,
just a mistake.
well, that's what's happening.
It could be a mistake that they did that, and it might be
Ah.
backtracking later on. I don't know. Have you
All right,
seen
let's
like
play
3
that-
years
let's
ago?
play
That
that-
kind of shit
let's-
happened all the time.
Hang on,
Literally,
hang on.
channels
Did you
would come
hear-
on like, "This is all wrong. This is wrong," and then
Can
the
we
next
hear
week
that
it's like, "Oh
audio
wait, no,
again?
it's the other way around."
Can we?
Can, can you let me reply?
No, you always
No,
cut me off.
no, yeah.
Nathan, can you
so
play that
typical,
audio
so
again so
typical,
that
yeah.
he could hear Karen B saying what she said?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Listen up, Arwen.
You can still see the horizon line beyond that back platform.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is the black swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan.
Yeah.
All right. So if it's our every damn day swan, why would it be the case that 90% of the Western world go by the definition that is given to them about what the horizon is? They are told the horizon's a geometric horizon. That's the status quo. That's the standard rhetoric. So all horizons are white swans, as in geometric horizons. Now, while we, as flat earthers, might go out and observe more distant horizons, debunking the notion that it's geometric, that doesn't mean that the standard rhetoric is that we have a optical or perspective-based horizon. That is not the rhetoric we live under. We are under the rhetoric that the horizon's a geometric obstruction to things in the distance because we live on a sphere. That's the white swan situation. And it's always a geometric horizon. It's always the edge of a sphere. That is the argument we are very much fighting against. They claim we live on a geometric sphere with an edge that bends. That's the white swan. So to turn around and convolute our argument, dilute it by saying, no, actually, we often see horizons that debunk the current rhetoric. Well, yeah, debunk the current rhetoric, meaning that's the white swans. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to be debunking it. Yeah, so no, they're not all white swans when it's an optical horizon that's geometrically impossible. The only reason you've got to disclaim that it's geometrically impossible is because it's a black swan, not the norm, not the common or garden white swans that they claim the horizon always is. So that's the basis of our argument. A lot of people don't fully understand the basis of the argument yet, but the people who do, the smarter people, Karen's not stupid, are going to, dilute it back down because in her worldview we should always recognise the fact that we have an optical horizon. Yet we would like that too, but that just isn't the world we live in, or there'd be no debate. So why dilute a cast iron proof into some wishy-washy way of saying, no, the worldview is actually that we have optical horizons, because that's a white swan situation right there. It's always white swan. No, it's not. No, average Joe thinks we've got a geometric horizon and it's taught to school children. That's white swan. You don't have to like it, and it's beyond me why you'd want to dilute that absolutely cast iron logical consistency. For what? What does it achieve? That would be my question to Karen. What are you trying to achieve here? Say that we should have an understanding that that's actually a white swan situation? Well, matter of fact, it isn't. I see thousands more photographs of what they claim to be white swans than these limited examples of black swans. It's not the case that people go out. The guy himself, what's he called, BMS, whatever, he went out for months and months and months. So no, it's not the case that you always see optically, geometrically impossible horizons. That simply is not the case. So again, it's beyond me why this has been put into the fray rather than going, woohoo! This is solid. You cannot get around. There's no debunking for this. Not only that, all the presentations that have been done by the person who came up with the logical consistency has given you any pathetic attempts at rebuttals in advance, so you can debunk them should you be challenged with crap, ham-handed rebuttals from the globe heads to this modus tollens formulation. But no, our own side wants to rearrange it and claim, no, we only get white swan optical horizons that are geometrically impossible. That's quite a common occurrence, actually. That's the general status quo. If that was the general status quo, every single time when someone out with a camera, they'd capture a geometric impossibility. No, they don't.
I stand by my original assessment, though. I think it is just a moment of weakness, and they kind of stumbled into it. And they'll probably regret it afterward when they really think about it, or they'll just let it fade over time. I don't know. I've seen this kind of behavior from a lot of different flat earthers, way including you sometimes, Nathan. But a lot of people, pretty much everyone, did that kind of thing every now and then, like 4 years ago.
Forget it. I'm no
people
angel.
don't know how to deal with themselves sometimes, you know.
I'm disagreeing with you.
We'll see if they're going to be headstrong about this, because that would be really stupid, or if they're going to reconsider, like, maybe we didn't really interpret it right. I don't know. I don't see the necessity to now like full on war mode immediately over this, you know.
Well, that's why I'm discussing it. This isn't my beef, so I can discuss it seemingly impartially. This is QE's beef, and I think it's justified. It should be held up in admiration. The people who've gone out and mirrored it, I've credited them and said, thank you very much for mirroring this. It's an important proof to have people understand, and it takes people mirroring it and rehashing it, slightly paraphrasing it isn't acceptable when it's a logical consistency argument, unfortunately. As soon as you rearrange it, as I debated with Anthony a couple of days ago, when you rearrange a logical consistency, you can easily turn it into a fallacy. But why do that with a really solid proof that debunks the globe and there is literally no rebuttal? Why is it catching like wildfire? Well, because it's pissed the globe heads off no end, because they can't debunk it.
There's no logical sense in doing it. I agree to that.
Well, that's my angle, as opposed to declaring war. Just more of a questioning. I'm trying to fathom the logic behind rearranging a logical consistency argument that's absolutely sound to something that simply isn't true, to claim that we have all white swan horizons when they're all, being claimed to be geometric. That's what we're fighting against. So to sort of rearrange the way the world is viewed by the people we're arguing with into this idealism view that we actually only experience optical horizons. Yeah, we know. That's our argument too. Yeah, we realise there's more than one black swan, but why rearrange the argument and make it confusing?
Well, maybe they are simply confused. I'm dealing with this for a while now, and I sometimes even, if I'm not like listening very concentrated from the start of a sentence on, then I can even like accidentally switch things around. It is a kind of confusing issue here. The geometric
it's not
versus optical horizon. Yes, it is.
No, it is. Yes, and I showed it to two people last night.
They got it. That it is.
All right, go ahead. Finish up. Finish up.
Come on.
Contrarian.
Yeah.
I'm being practical and objective. Okay, finish up, Arwen. Get all your 20,000 words out. Hurry up.
I basically backed up Nathan's argument. I don't know why you always need to be so contrarian every time I speak, man. It's getting really
No. You got something coming out of your mouth that I got to speak against. That's why.
What is
not complicated?
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Just re-listen to the show, okay? Just re-listen to the show so you can pick up where you forgot.
I think 10th Man's trying to say it's not complicated. It's not difficult to get.
Thank you.
Very basic.
Can I tell you something on the Mark Sargent re-airing? Someone sent me that Mark Sargent where he talked about it, that snippet about the Black Swan. And to my understanding, Karen B was a co-host. Is that right? Did someone else hear that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I read the comments underneath. I didn't catch it at first, but when I read the comments underneath, someone wrote, How come Karen B said she doesn't know what the black swan is, and then later said it was a picture from Taboo Conspiracy? She knew all along what it was. I said, wow, that's interesting. I did hear that. There's some games being played here.
Okay, I don't know. Weird. I don't see it really, but I'll
Well, it would be
figure out what's going
would be
on.
nice. Yeah, but it would be nice if Karen B could just come on and actually give her a choice.
A take. Yeah. Well, I'm with Arwin in the respect that I don't want to see outright war declared on people. I'd rather they were either of the understanding that there's no necessity to rearrange a logical consistency argument that's absolutely watertight, just because, in their opinion, the horizons that we see frequently are globe debunking horizons. Therefore, they're actually white swans, basically rearranging the argument. Well, I just want to know what that's going to achieve. That would be my question. What are you trying to achieve by doing that? Hey, Adam.
Afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Adam.
Dark times, Adam. Dark times.
What's up, Adam?
Isn't it? Clouds are gathering.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Storms are brewing.
Are we talking about Goldbusters and the Black Swan? Is not a Black Swan? Is that what the is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, in essence. Basically, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't I was in that chat yesterday. I was listening to that, and I don't know. I was quite disappointed in that. I understand what their point is when they say, "Oh, it's not a black swan," because there are so many of these observations that kill the globe, and I get that. On the base level, I can understand that, but I think I don't know. I think they all miss something about this. They're not understanding the significance of it. I think the fact that has been taken and pointed out and made it's been made a specific example of just how devastating this observation is to the globe. And to me, it's like, well, yeah, you could say it's not a black swan or whatever, but it has already taken this entity of itself just by calling it that and pointing to it and bringing the attention. And it's not just the observation, it comes with the argument, obviously the modus tollens argument. And it's like that combination has brought a very big change to the whole dynamic of the way these guys are arguing. To have somebody like, Rumpus or these guys say, I've never argued for the one thing they've been arguing for years, that's significant. Right? Because that's how you know that's how you know when somebody's game has to change. When they have to change their argument, they're losing. And I think people got to really pay attention to that. And if you haven't caught that, you're not really paying attention to what's going on.
Right. They overlook the historical context.
Their arguments are changing on the fly. I mean, 3 months ago, did anybody hear them saying to us, "Oh, there's 3 horizons, there's 4 horizons, they can't find horizons"? There's multiple horizons. Did anybody hear any of that crap like 3-4 months ago?
No. But they're having to backtrack and deny their own arguments. And when it was backtracked, I immediately just went back to an old debate and found them arguing for a geometric obstruction, blocking things in the distance. So it's really easy to find examples where they've had to argue. That's their whole premise of their religion. Their argument is that Earth has a sphere geometry. And this debunks it. In essence, this debunks the entire heliocentric model. It's the best debunking of the sphere to date. Now, did I appreciate that we had black swans or the absurdity of the hump? Yeah, back in the day, 3 years ago when I was arguing alongside Anthony about the Isle of Man pictures, I was shouting till I'm blue in the face, so you're saying there's a 150-foot wall between us and this island? And they're saying, yeah, the hump, the obstruction, the geometric edge, yeah, they're all backing it. They're all absolutely on board. Now they've got to say, we've never claimed that we've got a geometric edge. It's like, your whole religion is that you have a geometric edge. In our you trust. It's the basis of your bloody religion that they're having to deny. And then when some of them say, oh, well, we don't need to base our horizons on an R value, you're like, yeah, so we win then. That's our whole argument. You don't need an R value to assess a picture. You don't need to reify a model with an R value to assess this picture on screen right now. None of that's necessary. That's what they're telling us. They're telling us we don't need to assess this with the R value. The R value's apparent for their fixed geometrical sphere Earth. So they're having to argue from total absurdity because of this logically consistent argument. Yeah, there are more than one black swan. Yeah, a dude who's probably watching right now, really can't remember his name to credit him. Another dude, Australian dude, I think, who's basically said, I went back to some of my videos, the one that got me the most hate from globeheads, and what do you know, it's another example of a black swan. And, this got me the most flack, and I didn't realise back then. I vaguely pointed out that the horizon was in the wrong place, but I didn't understand the significance of it. So I just kind of left it. Now here I am again, 6-month-old video, pointing out that this is another example of a black swan, a geometrically impossible horizon. And he explains why, gives the distances, game over. What he doesn't do is say, oh, there's black swans, not common, is totally common. Here you go, I've got one, I had one 6 months ago. That's not how he's approached it. He's gone, yeah, there are other examples of black swans, I didn't even realise I had one. Now, this is because I'm searching to see who's bringing up this topic. Typically, I don't do that many searches on YouTube. I go through my subscriptions. If I want to detach from Flat Earth, I go to the home page and take the suggestions from YouTube. But typically, I'll not look for things. I won't search for terms, Flat Earth. I don't do it anymore. I don't now. But at the moment, I'm searching non-stop for black swan arguments and seeing who's getting it and who's repeating it and how they're getting it. So when you come across somebody that's like, it's not really a black swan, this is common as muck, you're like, well, by saying that, you've destroyed the logical consistency within the argument that undoes sphere Earth geometry. Why would you want to do that?
I just speak on that for a second.
Bush can, Adam.
I'm not after a war, Nathan. I tuned into Globus and I've been, digging the back swan up, and I can't speak to other people's motivations, but I can describe how I felt a little bit when I heard the clip you played and the other bits, and it was real disappointment and confusion, really, because I'm quite excited by it. I think it's a fantastic proof, and talking about doing black swan things, I went to quite a bit of effort to try and go through the whole thing on Friday on Iron Realm, and try and go through why it's so good. And some of the terminology I was using was actually, the community effort that this thing is. This isn't Kiwi's work. This isn't Ben's work, and I forgot the bloody photographer's name. It's a combination of things, and it's how we come together with all our long old school work. Ben's and credit where it's due. Yes, those pictures were always there, but respect to Ben for being the one to verbalise it to us all and make us see the bloody obvious. And then further kudos from me to John to have formulated it in such a way that's brilliant, but with all the crap we've had so beautifully tongue-in-cheek with the use of Tollens and Ponens, I thought it was intellectually very clever to reverse that on them. So for me, I was just, I'd like to say, either confused and disappointed, or maybe not sure why people don't get the significance of this and aren't jumping up and down. A bit like I did on Friday, I bothered to sit down, write and put some stuff together because I do see the significance of it, and we're just a bit disappointed at the response from others that maybe they're not seeing the significance.
Sure, I found that too. So I went to your Iron Realm video found the exact point that you started talking about it and put a comment and timestamped it. It's like, I want this to be easy to find. So yeah, I thought you did a good job. And like I say, when you go to that particular video, my comment's there timestamped. I'm not going to pester you to pin it. Can you pin it, please?
Yeah, how do I pin it, Nathan? Oh, we'll do that after the show. But there's only, we don't get comments, Nathan. There's only 3 up there, so you're right.
No, I was joking. Yeah.
But to be fair, I think that Ranty's original in the ocean shot of the beach of that island kilometers away, I think that's just as much a black swan.
Yeah,
I think this is about what a black swan historically stands for.
Ranty's shot is a black swan. Yeah, it is. And your point is what?
Well, I think that there's just the big problem seems to be mostly that people don't really understand what the black swan is about the historical context specifically, which has not been reflected properly, because that is what it's about. It's about what it stands for, not about literal swans, not about the contrast it's about the historical context that people thought there weren't any. That's what it's about, and that's what people see.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, right? Is that these observations, now everybody's saying, oh, there's all these black swans out there. Well, nobody was even calling it that, right? Before it had a name. These observations were out there. No, the ballers weren't stressing out over these oil rigs and the horizon behind it before this. Until somebody took it and pointed it out and put a name on it and said, look, we're going to look at this particular observation right here, and we're going to place an argument on it that you cannot defeat in any way, shape, or form. Because if we live on a ball 3,959 miles radius, there's no way that horizon can be behind that oil rig at 9 miles. It's impossible, right? And to point that out and to make them absolutely just say, blah, 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 the refraction looming, the horizon's not even there. There's 5 horizons. What the fuck? How can you look at that and say that's not significant? And then when you look at the one of the other definitions for a black swan, what does it say? It says some type of unpredictable, unforeseen event. Did anybody foresee ballers throwing away their entire arguments? No. Right? Nobody saw that coming.
I did.
How many times did we say welcome to Flat Earth to ballers last week? Because they were all using our arguments. Was that happening before John put the black swan name on it? No. So yeah, you want to call it, you want to say there's all these observations, there's plenty of black swans, that's great. But the fact is, because John especially has pointed it out and put the argument out there, it is now defeating ballers all over the place. And I think that's a significant event. You could think I'm crazy or lying or whatever. I don't care. Personally, I think this was awesome. And I give kudos to John and definitely Ben and the other guy that made the video. But I mean, to downplay the significance of it and just to say, it's every day. Yeah. No, sorry. Not for us here in the Fight Club that are battling these morons every day. It's not just every day, because now they're all over the place with their babble. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're talking about looming. They don't know what the hell looming is, right? So this has changed the game. So sorry for anybody that doesn't see it. I'm glad Mark Sargent saw it. I heard him talking about it, and he gave a good shout out to it. He understands it.
Yes.
I think it's just the basics of understanding how detrimental the argument is. Not just this, oh, look at that horizon. That's not if that's the point where you're looking at it, then you missed the boat. Anyway, I'm done. Sorry.
Well said.
I'm totally with you, man. And QE did really QE turned it into a theme. But to be fair, the term has fallen. This is very niche, but I realized that I've personally witnessed Pete Shea actually bringing up the concept of Black Swan 3 years ago, but it was just like 1 or 2 hangouts and then forgot about it. So, but it's been there before, and that's just it. It's come and go, But John has taken the subject and turned it into a big advertisement bill to really shove it in people's face. And that's great. That's what we need. And I do applaud him for it. I do thank him for doing that.
Well, John said from the beginning, share it. I don't need to take credit for this. Share it as the way I'm showing it to you because it's solid. It's lock dead globe killer. Don't change it. Share it this way. So John said from the beginning, I'm going to use a hostile witness, Andrew Thomas Young, I'm sorry. He gave credit to BLM B69. He gave credit to Ben. And then he put together something no one in Flat Earth ever did to this point, to my knowledge, Modus Tollens. Made it a solid argument, logical consistency. And then said, just share it, spread it out. You have my permission. Don't even ask me. Just go share it, mirror this thing. And what did they do? Well, we just heard. They don't follow instructions.
Big mistake.
I want to echo everything you just said, brother.
Go on then. Oh, it was just a turn of phrase.
I just wanted to echo everything he just said. And Chocolate, they're both spot on. I mean, it's outstanding, you know. Applause to QE, man. Standing ovation. Show more enthusiasm.
Yeah,
now.
no, I totally agree. It's one of those that QE's not looking for the kudos. He's just looking for people to not rearrange his logical consistency that's watertight, or dilute it, or badmouth it. When it's like, number one, it's taken a fair bit of work. Number two, there's been, as was pointed out to Owen a second ago with Ranty's picture of Barrow and Finesse. Yeah, that's a black swan. Now, is it the same formulation with the horizon behind something? No, it isn't, but it's still a black swan. It's still a geometrically impossible horizon. But did we formulate that into a logical consistency? No. Did Ranty? No. Did Karen? No. But it was still a black swan. Well, why is it being called a black swan? Well, because the phrase has been coined with a logical consistency argument that has heritage about that particular coined phrase of black swan horizon. So you've got all of these strengths being added. It's being built up and added to by lots of different parties. You know, the first party was, in terms of the imagery, as strong as Ranty's. It could have very well been Ranty's image that we used. That's not the point. It's how it's formulated in a way that's undebunkable and leaves a geometric sphere model with nowhere to go, with no rebuttal. And our argument is that we don't live on a geometric sphere model. So what more could you bloody ask for? Oh, well, no, we've got these every day, so therefore let's rearrange that logical consistency and dilute it of any strength it had by saying, no, that's an all-day occurrence, that's a white swan, really. Well, why are you saying it's a white swan? Where have you got the idea of calling a horizon a white swan? Would it be because this is a really strong logical consistency argument that utilises the analogy of black and white swans by any chance? But you're going to take that formulated perfectly logical consistency and then flip it on its head and use the word swan when describing a horizon because you think the logical consistency that was sound isn't strictly true in our world because we actually live on a flat earth, therefore all of the horizons are actually white swans because all horizons are flat earth horizons. That would be the logic that I could only come to if I was to try and justify this. It's like, but yeah, we appreciate we live on a flat earth. We know we've never got a geometric horizon, and that's summarised within the logical consistency. Ergo, we don't have a geometric horizon. So, yeah, that is also summarised within the point. So, rearranging it and making a similar point with a total lack of a logical consistency behind it, what use is that? Saying that this is an everyday occurrence. Actually, optical horizons are just white swans. And then some wanker from the globe side says, no, we've got a geometric horizon. And we're back to square one arguing about whether or not it's a globe horizon or flat earth horizon. Well, that sounds bloody useful. No thanks. I'd much rather just stick to the actual logical consistency, its form, and its total demolition of any assertion we have a geometric sphere model giving us a horizon. That's the whole point of the argument, isn't it? Anything to add?
Yeah, that is the whole point of the argument. I'll agree with you. And I'll say, unfortunately, it looks like the name the name given to the argument, being the Black Swan, has overshadowed the argument itself. So people are too focused on the name and not on the actual proof. Like this whole started with boats going over the edge. Oh, a boat went over the edge. Wonder how that could happen. Maybe the Earth could be curved. You know, I mean, come on. This turned out nice and pretty for us.
Spot on. We don't have a geometric edge for boats to go over and to obscure distant islands and to curve at high altitudes, because we don't have a geometric horizon as demonstrated in the black swan images and many other black swans that are out there. So with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, then this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who joined, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley channel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!